All right, folks, the market rally continues. It's really about earnings fueling this thing, and we've got Tesla reporting their third quarter results after the closing bell. Now, this company's already beaten their delivery records every quarter, but that doesn't mean the stock always reacts a certain way. I want to bring in Market Gauge Group Managing Director Michele Snyder, along with Heritage Capital President Paul Schatz. Michele, I'm going to make this real simple. Tesla, buy, sell, or hold into the earnings?
Hold if you're in. If it can't clear 900 after earnings, get out.
Paul? Oh, by the way, Paul, you've been negative on Tesla, right? I mean, so if we get a good number, would you change your mind?
Yeah, I was negative summer and the fall of last year. My 13-year-old son kept hammering me to buy the stock. So I waited. He bought the stock. I didn't. I think fundamentals had to catch up with their stock price. And also, earnings has not been a catalyst for this stock.
Right.
Regardless of what it does tomorrow, earnings typically don't juice it like it does other companies. If we did get a run tomorrow, I certainly wouldn't chase it higher. I think you're going to have a better buying point down the road. But earnings should be super strong and fabulous tomorrow. I'll be fascinated to watch how investors react to it.
Michele, what are you looking at in terms of earnings, some of the earnings that are standing out to you?
Well, LEIDOS, which is cybersecurity, I really like, especially if it gets through 101. One that actually reported, which is Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, had a sort of a dump and then a pop, and I think if that gets follow through, I really like that. And Overstock, which doesn't report quite yet, but through 83, also Bitcoin related, I think that looks great too.
Yeah, I really love Overstock. I thought the prior CEO, I thought he took too much heat. He had a great point about this shorts, but I'm going to get off on a tangent. I don't want to do that. Paul, what are you looking at this earnings season?
I'm going in a different direction. I'm trying to play the theme I have that began a couple of weeks ago. I think GDP growth, earnings growth is about to supercharge, reaccelerate higher for Q4 and Q1 of next year. But I don't think it's going to be a narrow rally. I think the rising tide lifts all boats. So I'm going back to the infrastructure plays, back to the economically sensitive stuff that's been beaten down. You know, BHP Billiton's must have a 10% plus dividend yield. Part of it's that China problem they have with iron ore and into steel, and they're super levered. Trinity Industries, they make rail cars on the industrial side. Again, highly levered infrastructure, huge insider buying. BHP could do 50% higher than the stock price.
Right.
Trinity maybe goes from 30 to 40. And then Xilinx, I love the semis. I think they're shooting higher into Q1. Special situation with the deal with AMD, trading at a discount. Any pullback, I'm a buyer there.
In the meantime, speaking of pullbacks, Jack Ma was cited in Spain, and that triggered a whole lot of excitement about these Chinese tech stocks. In fact, many people are taking it as a positive. For those who aren't familiar, Jack Ma, very outspoken, at one point the richest person in China, really maybe got out of his lane. But now here's the best part. He's not under house arrest, obviously. He's in Spain with his family. And some folks think maybe it's a sign, Michele, that the government's going to ease up. Now, I looked at that KWB chart, those Chinese tech stocks. It's a great-looking chart. Are you buying any of those names?
Well, I would probably play it a little bit safer and not take too much credence in the fact that Jack Ma's been appeared. And I'm really looking more at the areas that's in line with what she is doing, which is basically switching from the Gilded Age to the progressive age. So EVs, I think, would be a good place to look. Tesla, of course, is the kingpin, but you also have Lee and you have NIO and actually also Boyd, which Buffett is holding as well. So I would stay away from the big tech. If you want some exposure, there's actually a better ETF to look at. It's PGJ. It's the Golden Dragon ETF. And if that gets through 50, you'll have exposure to Baidu and also to JD.com.
All right. Well, we covered a whole lot, and we learned that we've got an heir apparent over at the Schatz household. Sounds like your son is like my son when he was 13 years old. He gave me a lot of winners, I could tell you that. Michele, Paul, thank you both very much. You know, we're holding in there pretty good. Interesting enough, the